Sahih al-Bukhari 1031. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Prophet never raised his hands for any invocation except for that of istisqa, and he used to raise them so much that the whiteness of his armpits became visible. Note, it may be that Anas did not see the Prophet raising his hands, but it is narrated that the Prophet used to raise his hands for invocations other than istisqa. See Hadith Number 807 and 808, and also see Hadith Number 612, Volume 5. Sahih al-Bukhari 1032. Narrated Aisha. Whenever Allah's Messenger saw the rain, he used to say, "O Allah, let it be a strong fruitful rain." Sahih al-Bukhari 1033. Narrated Anas bin Malik. In the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, p.b.u.h, the people were afflicted with a famine year. While the Prophet was delivering the khutbah sermon on the pulpit on a Friday, a Bedouin stood up and said, "O Allah's Messenger, the livestock are dying and the families, offspring, are hungry, please pray to Allah to bless us with rain." Allah's Messenger raised both his hands towards the sky, and at that time there was not a trace of cloud in the sky. Then the clouds started gathering like mountains. Before he got down from the pulpit, I saw rainwater trickling down his beard. It rained that day, the next day, the third day, the fourth day, until the next Friday, when the same Bedouin or some other person stood up during the Friday khutbah and said, "O Allah's Messenger, the houses have collapsed and the livestock are drowned. Please invoke Allah for us." So Allah's Messenger raised both his hands and said, "O Allah, around us and not on us." Whichever side the Prophet directed his hand, the clouds dispersed from there till a hole in the clouds was formed over Medina. The valley of Kanat remained flowing with water for 1 month, and none came from outside who didn't talk about the abundant rain. Sahih al-Bukhari 1034. Narrated Anas. Whenever a strong wind blew, anxiety appeared on the face of the Prophet, fearing that wind might be a sign of Allah's wrath. Sahih al-Bukhari 1035. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "I was granted victory with As-Saba, and the nation of Ad was destroyed by Ad-Dabr, westerly wind." Sahih al-Bukhari 1036. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "The hour, last day, will not be established until religious knowledge will be taken away by the death of religious learned men, earthquakes will be very frequent, time will pass quickly, afflictions will appear, murders will increase, and money will overflow amongst you." Sahih al-Bukhari 1037. Narrated Ibn Umar. The Prophet said, "O Allah, bless our Sham and our Yemen." People said, "Our Najd as well." The Prophet again said, "O Allah, bless our Sham and Yemen." They said again, "Our Najd as well." On that the Prophet said, "There will appear earthquakes and afflictions, and from there will come out the side of the head of Satan." Sahih al-Bukhari 1038. Narrated Zayd bin Khalid al-Yuhani. Allah's Messenger led the morning prayer in al-Hudaybiyah, and it had rained the previous night. When the Prophet, p.b.u.h, had finished the prayer, he faced the people and said, "Do you know what your Lord has said?" They replied, "Allah and his apostle know better." The Prophet said, "Allah says, in this morning some of my worshippers remained as true believers and some became non-believers. He who said that it had rained with the blessing and mercy of Allah is the one who believes in me and does not believe in star. But he who said it had rained because of such and such, star, is a disbeliever in me and is a believer in star." Sahih al-Bukhari 1039. Narrated Ibn Umar. Allah's Messenger, p.b.u.h, said, "Keys of the unseen knowledge are 5 which nobody knows but Allah. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. Nobody knows what is in the womb. Nobody knows what he will gain tomorrow. Nobody knows at what place he will die, and nobody knows when it will rain." Sahih al-Bukhari 1040. Narrated Abu Bakr. We were with Allah's Messenger when the sun eclipsed. Allah's Messenger stood up dragging his cloak till he entered the mosque. He led us in a 2-rakat prayer till the sun, eclipse, had cleared. Then the Prophet, p.b.u.h, said, "The sun and the moon do not eclipse because of someone's death. So whenever you see these eclipses, pray and invoke Allah till the eclipse is over."